If you're a man over 60 and you've been told to just eat more vegetables to stay healthy, I need you to stop for a second and listen closely. Because one of the vegetables sitting right now in your fridge could be the very reason your erections are getting weaker, your prostate is swelling, and your energy feels like it's draining away day after day. And no, it's not simply because you're getting older. It's because you've been eating what the entire world told you was healthy, without realizing it's slowly robbing you of your manhood. My name is Dr. Mark Taver, MD. I'm a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s reclaim their vitality and performance in the bedroom, naturally. And what I've seen again and again is this: the most powerful remedy doesn't come in a pill, it comes from what you put on your plate. But here's the shocking part. Some vegetables, yes, vegetables, are loaded with hidden compounds that spike estrogen, stiffen your arteries, and inflame your prostate. And to make matters worse, most of them are labeled as heart healthy by well-meaning experts. That's the paradox. The very foods you've been told will save you might actually be destroying you. In this video, I'll reveal 4 vegetables you must cut from your diet immediately if you care about your circulation, your testosterone, and your performance. And I'll also show you 4 powerful vegetables that do the opposite. They restore blood flow, rebuild your confidence, and support your prostate, sometimes in just a matter of days. Stay with me until the very end, because I'll also expose one green vegetable that boosts estrogen in men over 60 by more than 30%, and yet almost no doctor ever warns you about it. Once you hear the truth, you'll never look at your vegetables the same way again. But before we dive into these eye-opening revelations, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, so you never miss another video designed to help you stay strong, sharp, and confident after 60. And if you find this information valuable, type a 1 in the comments. If not, type a 0. That way, I'll know exactly how to keep improving these videos for you. All right, let's get started. Here are the 4 vegetables you must avoid after 60, because while they may look healthy on the surface, they can secretly weaken your circulation, raise your estrogen, inflame your prostate, and drain your vitality at the very moment you need it most. Let's take a closer look at one of the biggest hidden dangers and why it might be doing more harm than good. Number 1, soy.tofu, soy milk, edamame. Let me tell you about a man I once treated. His name was Robert. He was 68 years old, a retired school principal, sharp mind, loving wife, but something was missing. He walked into my office, frustrated, quietly embarrassed. "Doctor," he said, "everything else seems fine, but I just don't feel like myself anymore. I'm tired all the time, my energy is fading, and in the bedroom, the fire is gone." We ran his labs. Nothing major popped up. His heart looked good, cholesterol was a little high, but one thing grabbed my attention. His estrogen levels were abnormally high for a man his age, so I asked him about his diet. That's when Robert admitted he'd switched over to tofu, soy milk, and edamame a few years earlier. "I thought it was good for my heart," he said. And that's when it hit me. Soy, while praised by many health experts, is loaded with lower sex drive, slower recovery, a softer, more tired body. And yes, for many men like Robert, erections that become inconsistent, weaker, or even disappear entirely. I've seen it more times than I can count. And here's the kicker. The problem isn't just soy itself. It's how often it sneaks into your diet without you realizing it. Protein bars, salad dressings, packaged snacks, meat substitutes. The food industry loves soy because it's cheap, versatile, and carries that shiny, healthy label. But your body, your hormones, pay the price. And it's not only testosterone. Some studies link soy to more inflammation and even thyroid disruption in older adults. Now combine that with age-related changes in blood flow and nerve sensitivity, and you've got the perfect cocktail for fading intimacy and shrinking confidence. Robert was shocked when I explained it to him, but he was willing to try something different. We cut out the soy. Within a few weeks, he was back with more energy. A month later, his wife sent me a handwritten thank you card that said, "You gave me my husband back." Am I saying soy is a poison? No. But for men over 60, especially if you're battling fatigue, erectile issues, or prostate problems, it's one vegetable you're better off leaving behind. There are far better ways to fuel your body without compromising your manhood. And speaking of healthy foods with a dark side, wait until you hear about the vegetable often praised for blood pressure support. But once processed, it can secretly stiffen your arteries and choke off blood flow to the places where you need it most. You won't believe how common it is: canned or pickled beets. Not long ago, another patient of mine, Harold, age 72, walked into my office looking puzzled. "Doctor," he said, "I've been doing everything right. I eat beets almost every day. I read they're amazing for circulation. I add them to dinner, but my legs are still cold. And honestly, things down there aren't getting any better either." That last part was whispered, the way so many older men confess when their confidence starts to crumble. I smiled, nodded, and asked him one simple question. "Harold, are you eating them fresh or canned?" He paused. "Canned," he said. "Sometimes pickled. It's just easier." And there was the problem. Beets, in their natural state, are one of the most powerful circulation-boosting vegetables on Earth. They're rich in nitrates. Your body converts into nitric oxide, a molecule that dilates blood vessels and increases flow. Essential for strong legs, a sharp brain, and yes, reliable, healthy erections. But here's the catch. Once beets are canned or pickled, their magic fades. The high heat from canning, combined with long storage, destroys a huge portion of those beneficial nitrates. And the pickling process? That loads the beets with sodium and vinegar, tightening your arteries and wiping out the very benefit you thought you were getting. In other words, Harold believed he was fueling his blood flow. But what he was really doing was quietly hardening his arteries, especially the small, delicate vessels that feed the pelvic region. He was unknowingly working against himself. When I dug deeper into his diet, I discovered he was consuming nearly double the recommended daily sodium intake. Processing changes everything. What begins as a remedy can transform into a toxin when it's put in the wrong form. So the next time you reach for a can or a jar, ask yourself, is this really helping my blood vessels, or is it silently choking them off? Now let's move to another vegetable, one many people consider a gift of nature, a staple of the Mediterranean diet, praised for its flavor and texture. But for older men, especially those struggling with joint pain or nerve sensitivity, it can be a hidden source of inflammation that affects far more than just your knees. Stay with me. This one surprises almost everyone. I'll never forget the afternoon I sat down with Frank, a 75-year-old retired contractor. His hands were like weathered leather, his heart big as Texas. He came in for routine labs, but our conversation quickly turned personal. "Doctor," he said, "my knees ache constantly. My back is killing me. And to be honest, I've lost all sensation down below. No pain, just nothing. It's like the lights went out." We ran the tests, nothing alarming, but something in Frank's story didn't add up. He was active, walked every day, ate what he thought was a healthy diet, grilled vegetables, colorful plates, the kind you see recommended on TV. Then I asked him to describe his meals in detail. One word stood out: eggplant. "I eat it almost every night," he said. "My wife bakes it with tomato and cheese, Mediterranean style." And there was the problem. Eggplant, while it seems like a gourmet health food, belongs to the nightshade family, along with tomatoes, peppers, and white potatoes. Now, tomatoes in moderation can be beneficial, but eggplant, for many older men, can be problematic. Nightshades contain natural compounds called alkaloids, and in certain people, these compounds trigger low-grade inflammation in the joints and nerves. That might sound minor, but for someone already dealing with age-related inflammation, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. And for men like Frank, who already had mild circulation issues, it meant worsening nerve sensitivity, not just in his knees, but in his pelvic floor. That dull, lifeless sensation he described wasn't just about testosterone or blood flow, it was about disrupted nerve signaling. Think of your body like an electrical system. If the wires are inflamed or corroded, the signals can't get through, even if the power is still on. That's exactly what alkaloids can do over time. Once we cut eggplant out of Frank's diet and reduced his intake of other nightshades, something started to change. Within weeks, the tingling in his legs faded. His knees felt looser. And then one day, he walked into my office with a grin, leaned in, and whispered, "Doctor, it's coming back. I can actually feel something again." Moments like that are why I do this work. Now listen, I'm not saying every man over 60 should panic about every tomato or pepper. But if you're noticing stiffness, pelvic discomfort, or numbness, especially alongside intimacy problems, it's worth looking closely at your relationship with nightshades, because inflammation doesn't always show up as swelling. Sometimes it shows up as silence, as a loss of connection. And speaking of lost connections, there's one more vegetable on our list that fools even the most health-conscious men. It's praised everywhere as a cancer-fighting superfood, but when it's overcooked or tossed in the microwave, it flips. It loses its healing power and starts doing the opposite. In fact, if you've ever wondered why your healthy diet hasn't brought your strength back, this could be the hidden reason. Let's break it down. Not long ago, a man named Walter came to see me. He was 69, a widower, a proud grandfather, and a man who followed every health tip to the letter. "I steam my broccoli every night," he told me. "Been doing it for years. I heard it's good for my prostate and keeps me regular." He chuckled as he said it, but behind the humor I saw the worry. He leaned in, lowered his voice, and admitted his energy was slipping. His nighttime trips to the bathroom were increasing. His performance in the bedroom was fading, and a strange mental fog was settling in. "I'm doing everything right," he said, "so why do I feel like I'm fading out?" That's when I asked him exactly how he was preparing his vegetables. "Well," he said proudly, "I steam the broccoli until it's soft. Sometimes I microwave it if I'm in a rush." And that's when I knew we'd hit the problem. Here's the truth. Broccoli is one of the most powerful vegetables for men over 60. It detoxifies excess estrogen. It protects the prostate. But only if it's prepared the right way. Broccoli, along with other cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower, contains a compound called sulforaphane. This compound is a game changer. It helps your liver clear toxins. It reduces systemic inflammation, and most importantly for older men, it lowers excess estrogen and supports a healthy testosterone balance. But here's the catch. Sulforaphane is extremely heat sensitive. The moment you overcook broccoli, or worse, microwave it, you destroy most of this healing compound. What you're left with is a limp, lifeless stalk. Some fiber, sure, but none of the protective power your aging body desperately needs. Walter, without realizing it, had been cooking away the very nutrient his body was craving. He thought he was defending his manhood, but he was preparing his food in a way that turned it into dead weight. So we made one simple change. Steam the broccoli lightly, no more than 3 minutes, or eat it raw in a salad with olive oil and lemon. The results? Subtle at first, but steady. His mind grew sharper. His nightly bathroom trips slowed down, and little by little his energy began to return. It was a small adjustment, but for men over 60, small things matter, because repeated habits either heal you or hurt you. And sadly, so many men are doing their best, eating healthy, without realizing that how they prepare their vegetables makes all the difference. Here's the truth. Overcooking broccoli doesn't just ruin the taste, it strips away one of the most powerful prostate-protecting compounds in the world. And microwaving it? That's like pouring water on a fire your body desperately needs. Now that you know which vegetables to avoid, or at least prepare correctly, let's talk about the ones that can truly fuel your virility. Because when you put the right foods on your plate, you feel it in your energy, your confidence, even in your connection with your partner. So what are these performance-boosting vegetables, and how can they make you feel younger from the inside out? Let's start with number 1, arugula, the rocket fuel for the bedroom. There's something incredibly powerful about watching a man come back to life. I saw it with Tom, a 70-year-old former Air Force mechanic who hadn't felt strong in years. He sat in my office one morning, quiet. Nothing seemed unusual until he described his meals. Beige on beige, toast, pasta, meat, almost no greens, especially not the ones that matter most. That's when I introduced him to what I call a quiet powerhouse, arugula. Now, arugula might look like just another leafy green tossed in a salad, but as a physician, I can tell you it's anything but ordinary. This peppery leaf is loaded with natural nitrates, which your body transforms into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide? That's the master key. It unlocks your blood vessels, relaxes them, opens them up, and lets blood flow freely, especially to the places that define a man's performance. Unlike synthetic pills that force the blood through, with side effects you don't want, arugula works with your body's own design. It helps your arteries do what they were built to do, expand, nourish, restore, and that changes how you feel, not just in the bedroom, but all day long. Better circulation means sharper thinking, warmer hands and feet, and yes, stronger, more dependable erections. When Tom started adding just a handful of arugula to his breakfast eggs, a small salad with dinner, he didn't expect much, but within a week he told me something had shifted. His mind felt sharper, his legs didn't feel so heavy, and then, one morning, he woke up to something he hadn't felt in nearly 2 years. He looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "Doctor, it works, and I didn't need the little blue pill." That's the quiet power of arugula. It doesn't scream for attention. It isn't marketed as a miracle food for men over 60, but it works with your body in a way that restores strength, dignity, and manhood. And it's not just the leaf itself. It's the message it carries. True healing doesn't always come from a pharmacy. Sometimes it grows in the soil, waits on your plate, and offers to give back what age and stress have slowly taken away. But arugula is only the beginning, because there's another vegetable, one with even more hidden strength. Most men overlook it because it's messy to prepare, but eaten fresh, it can send a surge of blood through your system, sharpen your energy, and reignite your performance in as little as 12 hours. Let's talk about it. Beets, fresh or roasted, nothing else. Whenever I think of the most underrated foods for older men, beets are always at the top of my list. I once had a patient named Carl, 67, a retired firefighter, tough on the outside but soft-hearted. He came to me not because of pain or disease, but because of a slow, steady loss of something he couldn't put into words. "I still love my wife," he said, "but I don't feel the energy I once had. I don't feel like the man I used to be. And to be honest, I think she sees it too." We looked at everything, his sleep, his stress, his medications, but every time my mind circled back to one thing, circulation. Carl's legs were cold most mornings, his stamina was fading, and silently, almost shamefully, he had started avoiding intimacy altogether. Most men don't realize this, but nearly every one of those changes you feel as you age starts with blood flow, and once blood flow begins to decline, everything else follows. That's why I talked to Carl about beets. Not the canned, pickled kind drowning in vinegar. I'm talking about fresh, roasted, earthy, red beets. They're not glamorous. Carl started roasting them a few nights a week. Olive oil, sea salt, a little patience. Within days, he told me he felt warmer. He walked farther. His mind didn't drift as easily. But the real change came quietly one morning when he leaned against my exam room counter and said, "Doc, she smiled at me last night, like she used to. That meant more to me than anything." I hear stories like Carl's all the time. Beets don't just restore circulation, they restore dignity. They help men reclaim something they thought was gone forever, not just function, but manhood itself. But here's the catch. They have to be fresh or roasted, not canned, not pickled. Once they're boiled in a factory or soaked in brine, the nitrates are destroyed, and what's left can do more harm than good. That's why I always tell my patients, real healing begins with real food prepared with real care. Give fresh red beets a single week in your kitchen, and your body will notice. So will your partner. But beets are only the beginning, because there's another food that protects something much deeper, your prostate. It's crimson red, and the moment you heat it, it transforms into one of the most powerful antioxidants known to science. Most men eat it raw and miss out on its true benefits. That food? Cooked tomatoes, the silent guardian of the prostate. I'll never forget Richard. He was 74. Silver hair, sharp dresser, still carried himself like the salesman he used to be. But when he sat across from me, there was a heaviness in his eyes that went beyond physical discomfort. It's not just the constant bathroom trips, Doc, he told me. It's the worry, the pressure. But while tomatoes guard the prostate, there's one last vegetable that works on a different front. It doesn't just support circulation or balance hormones. It actually helps free up testosterone that's been trapped in your body. And believe it or not, it's been sitting quietly in your fridge for years. Let's talk about spinach, the hidden ally. Spinach, the forgotten ally of testosterone. I remember sitting across from Leonard, a 70-year-old man with a gentle voice and refined manners. He'd been married for more than 40 years, deeply in love with his wife, but he confessed something most men are terrified to admit out loud. I'm still crazy about her, he told me quietly, but I don't feel like a man anymore. My strength is gone. In my body, in my mind, even in my desire. It's like I've been erased. Leonard wasn't sick. He wasn't on a cabinet full of medications, but he showed every classic sign of low testosterone. No energy, constant brain fog, no drive, and a painful distance from his wife that cut him deeper than he'd ever let on. And like so many men his age, he assumed this was just part of getting older, something you accept, something you endure. But it's not just age, it's exhaustion. Years of stress, processed food, poor circulation, and mineral depletion strip the body of what it needs to make and actually use testosterone. And one of the most overlooked fixes, it's sitting in almost every grocery store, spinach. This dark leafy green is loaded with magnesium, folate, and plant-based nitrates, nutrients that work in harmony to boost testosterone, relax blood vessels, and sharpen mental clarity. Magnesium, in particular, has the power to free up testosterone trapped in the blood, making it available for your body to actually use. For men over 60, that shift alone can mean the difference between fatigue and vitality, between disconnection and confidence. So I told Leonard, start small. Just add a handful of steamed spinach to your breakfast or lunch each day. It didn't take long before he noticed the change. First, it was his mood, more alert, more present in conversations. Then it showed up in his body, his legs steadier, his walks longer. But the moment that hit him hardest, one morning, his wife kissed him and whispered, "You're standing taller again." That's what spinach can do, not because it's green or trendy or natural, but because it feeds the systems of your body that matter most as you age. Blood flow, hormone balance, vitality, all without a prescription. No side effects, no loss of dignity. Don't underestimate it. Whether you steam it, saute it, or blend it into a smoothie, make spinach a regular part of your routine. Over time, you'll feel the difference, not just in your energy or performance, but in the quiet strength you carry through your day. Not every vegetable is good for every man, and not every so-called health food deserves a spot on your plate. What you avoid matters just as much as what you choose. The 4 vegetables we talked about today, soy, canned or pickled beets, nightshades like eggplant, and cruciferous veggies cooked to death, can quietly rob you of circulation, hormone balance, and the very strength that defines your masculinity. But the right 4, arugula, fresh red beets, cooked tomatoes, and spinach, can rebuild that strength from the inside out. You have far more control over your health, your energy, and your confidence than you've been led to believe. Your future doesn't have to be weaker than your past. And no matter your age, it is never too late to choose vitality, one bite at a time. I say this not only as a physician, but as someone who's walked this road with thousands of men who thought they were too far gone, too broken, or simply too old to change. They were wrong. And I hope by now you know the same truth. You're not too old. You are only one good choice away from a better tomorrow. In our next video, we'll dive deeper into how to combine these foods into simple, delicious meals that fuel circulation, support healthy hormones, and restore your confidence in the bedroom. And I'll share a 7-day plan that has helped countless men feel the difference in their legs, their hearts, and their lives. Don't miss it. Your next chapter starts right now. If this video has helped you or someone you care about, take a second to like it, share it, and drop a comment below. Your story, your question, or even just a thank you might be the push another man needs to take his first step toward better health. I read every comment, and your feedback helps shape the future of this channel. If you know a man over 60 struggling with his energy, his intimacy, or his confidence, share this video with him. It might do more for him than any prescription ever could. And if you'd like to support this mission, bringing honest, life-changing health advice to men around the world, consider making a small donation through the link in the description. Every contribution helps keep these videos ad-free, truthful, and accessible to the men who need them most. Your health matters, your voice matters, and your support means the world. So please like, comment, share, and if you can, donate. Let's keep building this community of strong, informed, empowered men together.